Welcome to Gravesend Australia Diecast Salvage. Today's episode, we're looking at an Australian car. We're looking at a old Holden. Could be an FX, could be an FJ. Not 100% sure yet until I look at its equivalent. So let's come into the workbench or workshop, I should say, not workbench, workshop, and we'll have a closer look at it. So come along the journey and we'll see you at the workshop. So welcome to the workbench or workshop. Yeah, okay, we're at a bench at the moment, but we have got a workshop here, so interchangeable. We're looking at a TRAX model. It's a 143 scale. It says made in Hong Kong. It is of a Holden Sedan. Now, as it has no grille, it's not easy to tell whether it's an FJ or an FX Holden, but the couple of models that I do have, which is this one, the FX model, which is the earlier version, and let's do the comparison. The tail fins are different. The sides are the same, but as I said, the grille and the front bumper we're not going to be able to tell. So it's going to come down to the fins. I do have a FJ version. As you can see, the FJ and the FX grills are completely different, but the body shapes are the same. But here we have something that is different. So by going by this model here that has fins, which is what this one has, this should be a FJ model. So it's a later version compared to this one. Alright, so there we go. That's how we've worked out that this is going to be an FJ. The original colour is a green. It is missing rubber tyres. The rear bumper is missing just a tiny piece there, but otherwise the rear bumper is complete. As we've mentioned earlier, the front grille and the front bumpers are missing. The plastic headlights are there, but we'll most likely change them over. I'm thinking of doing a wheel swap on this anyway, so we'll give it some updated headlights. Let's see what we can do regarding a grille. Where I'll stick my tongue in. Whether we make a copy of this one or we make up one completely different. Don't know yet. Alright, so it's going to be disassemble time. So let me get my tools ready and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're back again with some tools. It is a screw-in base, so I don't have to do anything with the Dremel, and I don't have to drill any post holes because it's already done. So one screw and 2-screw. And what you're hearing in the background is the Meghan Markle and Harry stories. I just wish they'd go away. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not a fan of Meghan or Harry. I rather his older brother, who's sensible, and Kate. She's absolutely terrific. All right. Anyway, let's get back to this Holden. There's our base. It does have suspension. The interior. Let's pull this out. I'll tell you one thing. They've done this interior very well. It's very detailed. And of the actual car. Detailed, not just a generic. They've got the steering wheel correct with the arms. They have the dash correct into what the vehicle would be. So it's not just a generic interior which they've done, which is great. Bench seats, which these vehicles did have at the time. But it ain't staying red. We may give it, don't know what colour we're going to make it. Usually the dash here is the same colour. I'll get it back in the camera. The dash is usually the same colour as the main casting, because when these original cars were built, they didn't have dash mats or anything like that. They didn't even have seat belts in the cars. That's how brave we were back in those days. Anyway, so they'll get a wash and a repaint. Now this does have glazing in it. Out she pops. As you can see, there's no rivet up the top. It will need a bit of a clean up, not much, just a bit of a clean up. And we will need to, just here and here are the quarter window parts, where will show up on camera. There we go. We have because this part of the window rolled down, this was a fixed window section. So again, this was a part of the window that rolled down, and this was a quarter window that opened up for vents, because these vehicles again did not have air conditioning. They had the 4x100 type air conditioning. Anyway, so the glass is in good condition. It does have wipers, windscreen wipers on here. We'll see if we can't detail them in like they should be. Alright, I think it's time to go to a venue. Now it's either a washing venue, or it'll be a venue where we need a wash afterwards. So, stay tuned. Our strippers are back. As you can see, all the white granules strap. We have our base in, we have our main casting in for our participant. So let's do some stripping. I don't know what the paint's coming off. As we can see, colour change in there. Oh, our strippers must have had a good time in their holiday. So they're liking their little swim around. As you can see, we have a different container than what we're normally doing. This one's a glass container, where previously I was using a very thick plastic, which I still have. I'm just trying this out a little bit differently. So, alright, I'll play around with my strippers. You'll be back to see a naked car. So, stay tuned. Okay, the base has just been repainted and is going to be detailed a little bit later because it's got some nice details down the bottom. And here is the top casting that came out of the caustic soda. And all we're going to do is use this brass wire brush to take the rest of the paint off. And then we're going to use the scourer, the steel wool scourer, to give it a good polish. So I'll do that off camera, and we'll be back shortly. So here's the main casting with the all nice and shine there. I have already put in the, very hard to see, there we go, the chrome strip between the roll down windows and the fixed windows. We have done that. We have, if I can get my fingers, Fumble Fingers is here today, so Fumble Fingers says hello. We have re-chromed the rear bumper. Probably needs one more going over. We still need to wash our interior and think about painting. We've been able to get the steering wheel out of the main dashboard, and as you can see, we've actually separated the dashboard from the interior. So that's just an experimental dab for the speedometer. So, but this has to be painted the same colour as the casting. So that is what we're going to think about doing next. Excuse me, well, I have a good sneeze. So the next time you'll see this, it will be in primer, ready for painting. So we'll take you over to the paint section of this episode. So stand by. Okay. We're putting this is going to be a two-tone vehicle. So we're going to paint this all the one colour first, and then we'll mask it up and do the second tone. So here we go. top part is going to be this dark green or olive green, whatever you like to call it, and the bottom part is going to be a paler green. Asking me why am I doing this bottom part? Well, one is to show you that the paint is going on quite well. And the second thing is just to give you more of me painting the car. And thirdly is just gives you that bit of extra time to say, are you doing that wrong? No, it's just to use up the paint, that's all I'm doing. All it is just giving something the, because I might just leave it in this one tone. Because was the special models that came in the two-tone, the more expensive cars of this era. So I'm just covering all bases. That's all I'm doing, just covering all bases. The main part is definitely this roof section that is definitely going to be staying this darker green. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll clean up the airbrush and get it ready for our next part once this paint has dried. So we shall see you in a moment. We're going to use some of this stuff that's like what some people call blue stuff to make a copy of the front grille for the FJ. So we did pull one of the other cars apart. It's around here somewhere. So because I've already used this, we can remold it, put it in there, put some hot water in, let it soften up. As it's boiling hot water, we'll need some tweezers, if I can remember where I put them. There they are, right in front of me. You should have told me where they were. Get some tweezers, just make sure that it is nice and soft, so we can now mould it the way that we want, as you can see. So we're just going to knead it around a little bit, just to take out whatever was there beforehand. So I'll stick it back into the hot water to make it nice and pliable. I'll get myself comfortable now on the seat as opposed to standing up. That's what happens when you get old. So, just thinking as to how I'm going to do this. Okay, so that's ready. Get that out the way. Just set that down there. And all I'm going to do is press this into this remoldable plastic. It is what they call a polymorph plastic, but you can reuse it. I do have another version which is goes a little bit harder, but that'll do. We'll let that set. Won't take long. We'll bring you back in a moment. So let's see how this mould came out from beforehand. There's our original. As you can see, it didn't damage it. And there's the impression that we've got. And you can see that I've already got other mould here ready for when I cast this. I'm casting this in resin, and so we don't have too much wastage. We always use other moulds to use it up, ones that we can always use again. So I'll bring you back when I've got the resin ready to go. I'll catch you in a moment. So I have my part A and part B of my two-part resin. Of course, this is our main casting that we're going to do, and this is going to use up our waste here, because what I want to do is make a screen plug. So something like that, a plug. So just in case the mould, this part here, the silicone mould wears out, like that one's just about gone because I tried to use heat in that one, that I have something to make a new mould with. So that's the idea of this, and that's for a Corgi Whiz Wheels Datsun 240Z. And as far as I know, you can't get screens for those, so but I can make them. Anyway, we mix our two parts together, A and B, because we get a thermal reaction. There's heat involved. That's why we put it into separate glass. Now I have this here as a spill mat, because we are going to have some spillage. Has to happen, but if we don't, we're protected just in case. So we'll just get that together, that together. Now we give this a bit of a stir so that it's thoroughly mixed. All it needs. And now we fill up this little mould carefully. Like I said, there is going to be some spillage. I'm not too worried about this back part here being filled, because that's going up against the the framework of the car. And now we dump the rest into here, and that's filling up quite nicely where I want it to go. So we can put that aside. Normally I would keep that somewhere nearby, because that will give me an idea as to where we're going to be if we're ready. But you should be able to see these turn white. There is heat involved. Again, I'll just reiterate that. There is heat involved with the chemical reaction that occurs. So I've just got to just tilt this one up a little bit so you can get the front part of the windscreen done for there. Alright, I'll bring you back when we'll see how quickly this one takes to react. So I'll keep it in real time. It might be a little bit boring, but in the meantime, here is the base. It's got plenty of detail on there. We can now clearly see saying TRAX and made in Hong Kong. We have the sump, we have the drive shaft, we have the differential, we've got the exhaust, and we have the leaf springs. Anyway, so we'll put that there to a side, and I have my hand in the way, but as you can see, this is real time. That's done the reaction there. This one takes a little bit longer for the simple reason that this is a lot thinner. It's starting to change colour now. That I can see it from my end. It's starting to change colour. So we'll just keep you know, 1 or 2 minutes, and she'll be fine. Because that's like a soft jelly, this one here. And here we are changing colour now. It will change very quickly. And this is where, once this is in this mode here, while it's still soft, it's pliable in that you can still change or make different things to it, or you know, sort of like a smashed screen, or I can bend the bumper a little bit to make it a wrecked bumper. You can do all sorts of things with it. And as you can see, now it's starting to come out. So that shouldn't take too much longer. Just a little bit too soft. Oh, that is hot. Good thing I'm wearing gloves. But in any case, you should be wearing gloves anyway, because you can get a skin irritation with resin. So all right, I'll bring you back when that is ready to do what we need to do with it. I've kept you here long enough. Sorry to bore you. Here's a reminder to what we started with on this TRAX Holden. And here we are now. This is our TRAX FJ Holden special. You should be seeing a photo about now for the inspiration for these colours. So this is what we've done. We've painted it a two-tone. We've done a wheel swap on this one. We've put in a new grill that we've self-made. We've used, what did we use? We used silver adhesive rhinestones for our headlights. We molotowed the front and the rear bumper and the front grille, because the front grille's made out of resin. We've chromed the trim around the front windscreen, and we did a chrome around the rear window as well, because that's what the specials were. The specials were the upmarket versions. This was a pleasant little build. We did even put in the windscreen wipers. We chromed the rear reflectors and detailed the red lights and the reflectors in there. Yeah, this was a fun build. So, hope you enjoyed the video, or coming along as much as I did making it, and we'll catch you next time on Gravesend Australia Diecast Salvage. Bye for now. Have a great time.